Harvey Elliott is recovering, we know, the young Liverpool player after that challenge and that red card at that match at Elland Road on Sunday. We now know that Leeds have lost their appeal against Pascal Struijk's red card during the 3-0 defeat to Liverpool. Even Harvey Elliott is saying, come on, it was never a red card. I mean, Trevor, you've seen it.
Yeah,
we all saw it.
I've seen it many times. Listen, Harvey Elliott, our heart goes out to him. A lot of empathy. I've been in that situation where you're going to be injured for a considerable amount of time. He looked in a great deal of stress.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's had a successful operation, and there's no hard feelings with him towards Pascal. He's already said he didn't think it was a foul. For me, I've looked at it several times. I think the referee played on. Craig Pawson played on initially until the reaction from Mo Salah. He was obviously horrified with his young teammate's injury that he dislocated his ankle, called for help. Craig Pawson then, I think, was spoken to by Andy Madley, who was the fourth official. He then said it was a red card. VAR looked at it, they substantiated that, and for me, the ball got it wrong. At worst, it was a foul, but I think it was a genuine, successful attempt to win the ball cleanly.
Yeah.
He's trailing leg on the left. Pascal's trailing leg with his left leg caught Harvey Elliott, and that caused the damage. That caused him to stub his foot into the ground.
It was accidental.
It was accidental. It was a good tackle. It was a clean tackle, and it's just unfortunate. Listen, it's a contact sport, and for me, I think the fact that they've thrown this out and said that no, you can't appeal, it's staying. I think they've got it wrong.
Well, they have appealed. They've turned the appeal down.
Yeah.
But the letter of the law is the letter of the law. We can't have the lunatics running the asylum. It's commendable and it's wonderful that Harvey Elliott has come out and apportioned no blame, and have not so much absolved the player from responsibility, but understood the dynamics of how it manifested itself and not held him accountable for an injury that he suffered. But you can't have the lunatics running the asylum. But when you look at people observing it, and you look at the fact, I believe I'm right, that Peter Walton, who's a former Premier League referee who does the referee analysis for BT Sport every week, has come out and said that wasn't a red card. Then you have to question either the interpretation of the rule or the rule itself, because the refusal to accept the appeal will be underpinned by a fundamental interpretation of the law. And it will, and we'll be able to see that. And whether we like it or we don't. And I think most of us looked at that and gone, well, it's difficult. The referees sent him off on the basis of the outcome, not the basis of the challenge.
Yeah.
And everyone that I know that I've spoken to, whether it be ex-footballers or people that understand the game well, have said the same thing. But they won't be making it on the back of a subjective decision. They'll be making it on the back of a law. And if the law says that the outcome determines the referee's decision, to some extent, then it's going to have to stand.
But I don't understand how it can stand, Simon, because from what I've seen, they were both running in the same direction.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's not left the ground. It's a sliding tackle, but he's not left the ground with 2 feet. He's made a clean challenge, contact with the ball. He actually kept the ball. And then on the follow through, his back leg has caught Harvey Elliott, who's then I think his toe stubbed into the ground, caused the ankle to twist, and that's what caused the damage. It's a contact sport. You can't look at the incident and say, oh, right, but because he's injured himself, we're going to have to give a red card. I think they've got to really have a look at themselves. And if this decision does stand,
well, it has
I don't know where we stand. I don't know where we stand.
They have stood. They've made the decision. They've appealed against it, and the commission has turned around and said that the appeal doesn't stand.
Yeah, and Leeds have lost the appeal.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are one of the Leeds players, obviously you support Struijk, and you've lost the player for a number of games. If you're a Liverpool player in that match, if you're a colleague of Harvey's, how are you feeling this morning about that?
I think
do you think justice has been done?
Not really. I think they'll be perplexed, the Liverpool players even, because they will look at that and they'll look at it and break it down like I did, and they'll think it's not really a foul. It's a clean challenge. Yeah. If you shoulder charge a boy and he tries to stay in play, hyperextends his knee, does his knee, and he's out for 9 months, what would you say? You shouldn't shoulder charge?
Well, the Liverpool
it's
players,
a contact sport.
The person that's been affected the most is Harvey Elliott.
Of course it is.
And he's the one that's come out and said it wasn't a challenge that I would consider was worthy of a red card. So the rest of the Liverpool team must fall in line behind him. Yeah. It's not their job to be affronted on behalf of someone that's not affronted, is it?
Yeah, but it's an interesting point, though, Simon. And I'm with you. The law is the law is the law, and I'm with you in that.
Whether the law is an ass in this instance is a different matter.
Whether it's an ass in this instance is a different matter. But you have the victim in all of this, young Harvey, saying, wasn't a red card challenge.
I know, but
you think...
No, it is.
Is this not an exceptional...
No, I don't think you can factor that you don't think you can factor that into the thinking. Because, like I said at the top of it, you can't have the lunatics running the asylum. You know, because they determine what happens next is a player that you played once with and you really like him did something to you that was out of character, then you decide to absolve him from that responsibility, irrespective if it was a foul or not. You can't have the lunatics running the asylum. It's wonderful that he comes out and doesn't apportion any blame to this player, so that the player that affected him doesn't walk around with the psychological damage of perhaps damaging another player and having all that goes with that. That's great. But the laws are the laws, and whether we like these laws or not, and whether we have to finesse them, or they have to be slightly adjusted, or we have to have better refereeing standards, those all become the debates.
But even though he has come out, Harvey Elliott, and says it's not Pascal's fault, I don't think it was a foul. Forget them comments. Looking at the detail of the challenge, it still shouldn't have been a red card for him.
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.